So, Rachel.
Why is he going nuts in the yard?
I don't know. There's raccoons or something.
Stuff to bark at.
Always something.
There is. Oh my gosh.
Rachel, do you want to talk about Supernatural now?
Yes, always.
First of all, hello everyone listening. Welcome to the Wayward Somethings podcast, a podcast where me and my estranged friend Rachel talk about our favorite television show, Supernatural. You know what I noticed this week when I was putting the podcast live on places?
What?
We did not pick a very unique name. There's actually there's a podcast with Jodie and some other actor from Supernatural called the Wayward Podcast. So since we're just getting started out, potentially you and I could change our name, but I also feel like it might be in our benefit that people could search for the Wayward Podcast, accidentally find ours, and then continue to listen, not realizing that we're not actors from the show.
I like our name.
I like it too. It's very us. It's you and me. We're having a brainstorm about what to name the show, and I meant to say Wayward something, as in fill in the blank. Let's find something to go after Wayward. And you were like, I like Wayward something. Just that weird half a name. That's very us.
That is. I'm down to keep it. I think we should definitely leverage off of those other faults.
Yeah, that's definitely the best way to go about it, I think. And besides, I don't want to change any of it. I don't want to have to, I don't know, do anything else. I already made us a Twitter.
You've been working hard, man.
I've been avoiding work and doing this instead.
You've been putting some effort in. I just kind of show up once a week.
Yeah, that's your role here. You're the, I don't know, if this was a sitcom, you'd be like the character that everybody applauds really loud when you walk in the room. Oh, it's Rachel. She's gonna say her catchphrase.
Am I the Fonz?
I think you might be the Fonz. No.
I want to be...
You might not be the Fonz. I think
Fonz.
you might be you're not the Fonz. I think you're more like Chachi.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
It's still a fan favorite, but you're not you can't kick a jukebox and make it work. Seen you try it and you failed.
I bet I could kick it and break it.
You probably could. I believe in you that far. But you get a spin-off. If you're Chachi, you get the spin-off show Joni Loves Chachi.
Well, I'm good with that.
So you're Chachi.
Yeah, I'm Chachi.
What character would I be? Am I... What was Ron Howard's character in that show? Well, Apollo just opened the door. I gotta go close the door.
I don't know. I don't know these, I don't remember these guys as well as you do.
You never watched Happy Days? We grew up in the 70s.
I did watch it a lot. It's just been a minute. I don't remember it very well. I don't know, man. You're the one who's, in charge. You're, orchestrating everything.
I haven't been listening. I had headphones on. And I went to go close the door, and I had to, unhook myself from everything in order to do that.
Oh, well, yeah.
So whatever you've been saying, I'm sure it's great.
I didn't really say much or anything. I just said that you've kind of been orchestrating this whole thing, so whoever does that.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably Ron Howard's character, and I think his name was, Ricky or something.
Was he...
Ricky.
I don't even remember him.
Mickey. He's the main guy. The Cunningham, it's the Cunninghams, right?
Yeah.
Richie, it's Richie. Oh my god. I'm so glad I remembered that fact from a television show that's been off the air for 30 years.
Oh,
maybe
man.
More, 40 maybe?
Oh man. I'm looking at a poster of Happy Days now. I used to watch this all the time. Mm-hmm. It's been so long though.
So for the audience who don't know our lives, you and I were both homeschooled quite a bit. And the benefit of being homeschooled, at least for me, is getting I watched a lot of daytime television.
I sure did too. That is actually how I got into Star Trek.
Yeah, so I used to watch, like, Happy Days in the middle of the day. Happy Days and, like, Hawaii Five-0, all kinds of, like, weird old shows. Perry Mason.
Yep.
Lots of Perry Mason.
Leave It to Beaver.
And even some, like, yeah, Leave It to Beaver. Even some, like, soap operas. Like, I used to watch General Hospital. So, you know, homeschool is great. Homeschool your kids so that they can not have an education. I mean, I can't add or subtract in my brain, but I can remember plot points from Happy Days, so.
Considering you're going for an advanced degree, I think you did okay.
Apollo, come on, dude. Apollo just barked. I might have to put him out of this room. Anyway, yeah. Well, I don't know. PhDs aren't actually that hard.
It's funny. It's completely different than undergrad.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not the same thing at all. It's basically just working, but not getting paid well or at all for it.
Yeah, it's a lot of. Basically, I'm a teacher for, like, no money.
Yep.
Yeah, I had, like, students ask me, like, oh, I want to go to grad school. What should I do? Should I change my major if I want to be something else in grad school? I'm like, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you major in your undergrad. And as long as, don't go to grad school unless, like, unless you really, 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 really want to be tired all the time.
I used to want to go to grad school.
I mean, if you enjoy working like an 80-hour week for $20,000 a year, right on, man. Do that.
Man, I did that one semester where I worked in that lab full time, and I saw what the grad students did, and I saw what the PI did, and I was like, that looks lame.
Yeah.
Like, I know how hard it is. I'm like, I don't think I'm passionate enough about this to actually do this. I don't think I want this. And so I took my bachelor's, and I said, I'm good.
Okay, I have to put Apollo out. He's getting into yarn, and, dude, come on. Wait, hold on 1 second, Rachel. I'm sorry, boy.
Whoa.
Right, the dogs are now locked out.
Did you break a bunch of stuff just now?
No, I have bells on this door.
Oh. It sounded like stuff broke.
No, I have, on my study door, I have this thing I bought in Flushing. It's like this ornament for the New Year, the Chinese New Year.
Oh, yeah.
But it's from last year. Or is this year the year of the rat? It's supposed to be a rat. It doesn't look like a rat at all.
I don't remember.
I think it's the year of the rabbit.
I don't even know. Didn't pay attention this year.
Well, I was in, like, Chinatown in New York.
Awesome. During COVID. This was right before COVID.
It was right before we were talking about it, because it was, like, they had family in Wuhan, people I was with, and they were talking about, like, what's going on in China, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
that sounds bad.
I remember.
Hope it doesn't come here.
The celebration here. They were doing a celebration at North Park in Dallas.
Yeah.
And that got canceled because of COVID.
Really, that early on?
Yeah.
Because I thought, like,
it wasn't. I don't think it was here yet. I wasn't completely sure why they canceled. I don't know if it was just because. I don't know, maybe because it's so bad in China.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
They were probably right.
Yeah, it's good foresight. Rare from Texas. Not to get political on our podcast.
Well, it wasn't the government that decided to.
That's true. You know, we've been talking for like 12 minutes and we haven't talked about Supernatural at all yet.
Well, You'll probably cut this stuff out.
I might cut some of it out. I don't want to... Cutting stuff out is more work than I want to put. Oh.
I haven't even listened to any of the stuff yet. It's not because I'm not interested. I just don't like listening to myself.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit nervous about trying to listen to it.
I felt kind of weird. Like, I went back and I listened to it, like, a little bit. And I felt, like, weird and vain for doing that. So, I think you're good.
Alright.
I don't think you have to listen to it.
Alright.
So, but, okay, so we were talking about, like, grad school. And, how that's a silly dream to have. Don't do that. But
I mean,
in this
I think
episode,
it's important, but I think
well,
you
some people have to do it.
You have to really want it.
Some people need to do it, but, you know.
I decided when I saw, like, I guess basically when I saw what my PI actually did for his job, I was like, I don't think I actually want that. I probably shouldn't go to do this thing.
My PI works, like, way more than me, and I already feel like I work way too much.
It was a lot of administrative work, basically.
Yeah.
He had to, you know, try and get grants and manage his lab people, and I was like, oh, doesn't look fun at all.
Yeah, anyway, the reason why I brought it back to that is because in this episode, Dean is sort of supposedly jealous of Sam that he went to college.
Yes.
And this is skipping to, like, towards the end of the episode, but I wanted to discuss, so we're talking about Skin, the 6th episode in the series.
Episode 6.
And at one point, Dean is mimicked by a shapeshifter. Mm-hmm. And the shapeshifter is, like, reading Dean's mind, and he's like, Dean had dreams. And I thought, at that point, like, what would Dean's dreams be? Because we see, like, a little bit of what Dean would do when he's not, like, in the life kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, in one of the Jinn episodes, I think.
Yeah.
He's a weird salesman kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's another episode where, is it another Jinn episode? I'm not really sure, but, like, he's a mechanic.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually legit, like, his life for a minute.
Well, that's his life for a minute when one of the times that Sam dies, but, there's also, I feel like there's also one where Sam gets trapped in, like, an alternate reality, and Dean is a mechanic.
Huh. I'm not remembering this. I know that, like, that one year when Sam was gone, he was a mechanic when he had his regular life.
Yeah, he lived with Lisa and Ben, and he was a mechanic. So his dreams aren't, like, to go to college, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think, like, it would be fun to be a mechanic, actually.
No,
just to, like, fix things
I don't
all
think
day.
he really wants to go to college.
No. But I'm just saying, like,
but he does.
That kind of job would be fun. And I could see Dean doing that.
Oh, yeah, mechanic?
Yeah.
It would be fun. To work with your hands, put stuff
It's
together.
Sort of what you would do. You're just more technical.
Yeah, it kind of is. I've had to become a lot more mechanical. And decided I kind of like it. It's still not my strong suit, but it's fun at least.
Yeah. I want to be able to fix up cars. Anyway, that's the first thing I thought about when I watched this episode. So they are on their way to Arizona, and they are stopping to get gas. When the episode starts with St. Louis, Missouri. A dude is killing his wife.
It starts with this weird song playing, and this girl's all tied up, and she's all bloody. And then the cops come in, and they find her, and she's like, he's in there! And this weird song is still playing, and they, like, find the dude, and he turns around, and guess what? It's Dean.
That's right. So that song is very, like, the song that's playing in the beginning super, like, rock and roll. And this is before, like, rock was kind of dead like it is now. It's all just, like, power pop kind of, indie pop, pop kind of stuff.
I feel like it was cool at the time.
Yeah, it was cool at the time. And so it's, like, trying to get this rock and roll feel for the show. Because these are badass guys doing badass things. I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, so Dean is torturing a woman. That's how the show opens.
That's definitely what's going on.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going on. I mean, he has tortured women. We've watched him do it in the show. I mean,
yeah.
Usually those women are like demons, but still. So then they're on their way to Arizona. Now they're on their way to Arizona. And Sam is checking his emails on a Palm Pilot.
Is it a Palm Pilot? I thought it was a Blackberry.
Maybe. I don't know what the difference between those two things
I don't actually know either, because I did not have either of them.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was a Blackberry, but I guess he did have the little stick.
He had the little stick.
Maybe it was a Palm Pilot. But we're calling it a stick. It's a stylus.
Okay. I mean, a stick is essentially what it is. A stylus is just a fancy name for a stick.
I couldn't think of the name at first.
But at that point in our lives, we didn't need to check emails, so we didn't have Palm Pilots.
Plus, I love that it was an email and not a text.
Yeah, well, I mean... I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of how I communicate with people for a while.
Email?
Yeah.
You didn't email.
I did until I got IM, like AIM and all that, and then I used that.
I wasn't ever allowed to use AIM.
Because I definitely had both of those things before I had a cell phone.
Yeah. Well, you and I used to, like, call on the landline and talk for literally hours. Literally hours about nothing.
Kind of like this. Kind of like this?
Yeah. Kind of like this. This is very close to what our conversations were like then. Oh man. Weird.
Oh man.
So,
yeah.
the email he gets from his friend Rebecca is, like, very detailed. I don't know that I would, like, how close is he supposed to be friends with Rebecca? Because if I just had, like, a college friend and my brother was being charged with murder, I don't think I'd send him, like, a long explanation of, like, what's going on with my brother who's been charged with murder. I know that Sam was, like, pre-law, and maybe she thought, like, he could help in some way, but that's pre-law. He's not actually a lawyer.
I don't know. Maybe they were good friends.
They must have been very good friends.
I mean...
I think if I was charged with murder, I wouldn't tell you.
I guess that's the point, though, is that, like, Sam's still trying to hang on to his old life, right?
Yeah. So you think, at this point, he still hopes that he can just get the thing that killed Jess and go back.
Yeah, probably so.
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to figure out what my notes were saying. So, they must have been going to, like, a case in Arizona. And then Rachel, are you still there?
What? I'm sorry. The episode is playing, and I'm watching it.
Did you not watch it beforehand again? Rachel?
Well, the day change really got me, man.
Oh, it was weeks
I've started
ago.
to get into this rhythm where I watch it Sunday morning, and then...
Oh, that's right. It's Saturday right now, so I'm the one that's...
And I don't know, I honestly didn't even think about watching it before, because I guess I'm used to watching on Sundays. I don't know. And I was like, alright, time to call Joelle. Oh crap, I didn't watch it.
I just watched it, like, just now.
I apologize. I'm bad at this.
Yeah, this is like... I think you've only watched it ahead of time, like, for one episode of our podcast so far.
Hard. I think I did that twice. Anyway, I did just, like, go through these not too long ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't feel too bad.
So they must have been on their way to a case, is what I was saying.
Yes.
In Arizona. Do you think that they, at the end of this, they go to Arizona and they do whatever? Do you think that multiple people died while they were doing this?
Oh, man.
What was going on in Arizona?
What was going on in Arizona? I don't remember.
I don't think they say. And I think the next episode isn't in Arizona, so...
Maybe they were going there for leisure.
Yeah, just a nice Arizona vacation. What would you even do in Arizona? I've been to Arizona multiple times. I've camped, I guess.
I have not been.
But we've established they're not campers.
Do you hike there?
Yeah, I went to, wait, maybe that's Utah that I'm thinking of. I went to Zion National Park. That's definitely in Utah. Well. Yeah. There's camping.
Hey, isn't Arizona where Bella's from in Twilight?
Yeah, originally she's from Phoenix. I hate that I know that information, but yeah, originally she's from Phoenix, and then she moves to
Did I tell you that
Fork.
I got Blake to watch Twilight the other day?
Oh my god.
So, I've been telling him for years that it's good for a laugh.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's watch Twilight. Because it was before Halloween and, vampires, so...
It's very spooky.
He laughed and laughed and laughed. He enjoyed it immensely.
You and I went and saw it in theaters like 5 times. Do you remember that?
I remember seeing it in the Dollar Theater.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the Dollar Theater, and it was in the Dollar Theater for like a full summer, and you and I just like would go constantly with our friend Kit.
It's an entertaining film.
It is very entertaining.
I still got a laugh out of it this last time I watched it.
I love the part when she walks into the room and the fan like hits her and he acts like she smells really bad.
It's pure gold. I mean, it's hilarious. I don't know how they made that movie and thought it wasn't going to be hilarious.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I still like the thing that I read like the first 2.5 books and I was like halfway through the 3rd book. And it was so awful, and I was reading it, and I was like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And then it suddenly occurred to me, like, oh, I don't have to finish this. I could just put it down and not pick it back up again, and that'd be fine.
Oh my gosh.
So I did.
So, not too long ago, we watched the Twilight episode of Supernatural.
Oh, that's a good one.
So, we had just watched the Twilight movie, so it was hilarious. I mean, it was hilarious. And I asked him, I was like, what'd you think when you saw this, without having seen the movies? He's like, no. But I'm sure it was much better now.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're gonna go now and check on Sam's college friend and his sister because his college friend has been charged with murder.
Yep.
You know what I was thinking when Dean was giving Sam a hard time about like emailing his college friends though?
What's that?
Is how lonely Dean must be. So lonely. Like he's never really had friends.
Oh.
We see him in high school and he's somewhat popular in high school, but they're never there for very long.
Yeah.
And then I think Lisa is the only person he ever, really connects with in his life, other than, Castiel.
I think you're right.
We can talk about this more towards the end, or we can talk about it right now, because this is loose, and we're not really following any sort of timeline, but the last episode, so these podcasts are being, released, we're a week ahead of the podcast being released, because I wanted to give us, space in case 1 week we couldn't do it. But right now, the last episode aired on this Thursday.
It sure did. No spoilers, I'm not there yet.
I have already had bits of it spoiled. Partially because I was, on the internet sharing this stuff and, hashtagging Supernatural.
No!
And looking at stuff. Yeah. So you and I are both, we watched it on Netflix, so we have to kind of wait till it hits Netflix in order to watch it.
I'm not even to that season yet. I'm a couple seasons behind.
I'm like half a season behind.
I'll get there, though.
So I'm kind of thinking, like, I think you and I talked about early on about whether or not we would want to, like, go ahead and finish it now, or, like, wait till we get there in the rewatch. And I don't think I can wait that long, because it's going to take us, like, years to do this one episode a week.
That's fair. I will probably watch it with Blake while we're doing our rewatch.
Yeah.
We're in season 6 now.
Oh. Wait, season 6 is... what's the story arc there? That's not the Leviathan, is it? No, that's like
Sam's
Cass.
back without a soul.
Yeah, Soulless Sam is great.
Monster stuff. Then the Mother of Monsters.
Mother of Monsters was kind of a bust. She didn't last. She wasn't like the big climax that I thought she was going to be.
This whole season's kind of got me a little confused. So we're 10 or 11 episodes through. And so one of the deals is Sam's soul, right? And then, but also there's this side plot where Crowley's trying to find purgatory. But now there's, another plot where the Mother of Monsters shows up? So I'm a little lost.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, they didn't intend for that season to happen. They definitely thought it was going to end at Swan Song, and then...
I mean, yeah, it was called Swan
didn't.
Song.
Yeah. It didn't, and a lot of people, so I see people, like, post about, like, they gave up on Supernatural after season 5, and then, like, it's not good after season 5, but the thing is, like, yes, it kind of loses the story arc somewhat after season 5, but then it just can do whatever it wants, and those are some great episodes.
There have been a lot of good episodes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's one episode where Dean learns how to talk to dogs. That was... that was pretty good. Anyway, back to season 1.
The fairies. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorites. We at some point need to, like, do a top 10 list. I think my top number 1 episode is the first Trickster episode. But
is the what?
The first Trickster episode?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Trickster episodes.
Yeah, those are all good.
Yes, they are.
So, anyway, season 1, they go to this girl's house, this girl's parents' house in St. Louis, Missouri.
It's a nice freaking house.
Oh, it's an amazing house. It's a weird-looking house. Like, they must be... Well, she says, like, her parents spent half the year in Paris.
Yep.
So they got money.
They definitely have money.
So Sam must be good friends with her because he knows where her parents' house is.
Yeah.
They just show up there. And she's got that shiny lip gloss on again.
She sure
her lips are
does.
so shiny. And that weird, like, boob sweater where it's just, like, tied, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, like, sleeves and then it's tied in the front.
Yeah.
That's
know what you mean.
Such a weird look. Such a weird and uncomfortable look.
Yeah.
And they lie to her and say that Dean was a cop in, and he says Bisbee, Arizona, I think is a way of messing with Sammy.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where they were supposed to be going. Yep. And it seems like it might actually be a supernatural thing, because her brother was in 2 places at once. He was at their parents' house, having a couple of beers with her, while the police have it on video that he was coming home and murdering his girlfriend. So then they convince her that they can go to the crime scene and look around, that it'll be fine. And there is blood, like, everywhere.
Yeah.
Literally everywhere. So much blood. It seems excessive, like it's all over. The entire place is covered in blood. What was this guy doing?
It was a lot.
And while they're looking around, they see that the neighbor's dog is, like, going crazy, barking at them. And she says, I never remember the name of the episodic characters. I never remember their names. I don't.
There's
No, it's Rebecca. It's Rebecca. Well, it makes it easier when I'm recounting the story of the episode to be able to say, like, the person's name rather than that chick, that dude, with the thing, that person.
Yep.
It's easier to just say Rebecca.
Blonde girl.
Blonde girl. Shiny lips. She said that dog changed. It used to be a sweet dog, and now it's a mean dog.
Yes.
And that's another hint that something supernatural might be going on, because animals have a sense
know
of
things.
the paranormal. Yeah. There's also, on the fridge, there's like a weirdly photoshopped picture of Zach and Rebecca and Dean. Not Dean, Sam.
It does look weird. I noticed that too.
I mean, it's a fake picture. But all of those actors were in this episode. Why didn't they just, like, take a picture of those three people together?
I don't know.
It doesn't...
That would have been too easy.
And also, Zach, who is Rebecca's brother, who is charged with the murder of his girlfriend, he looks a lot like my ex-husband.
Oh my gosh.
Do you think?
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Then we flash, I think, to Zach, or a guy that at least looks like Zach, who's watching a couple. He's creeping on a couple while the husband is saying he's going out of town.
Yeah.
And then his eyes flash, and he's got these, like, gold eyes. So it's not Zach, it's some supernatural thingy.
Yes. And this girl, he's telling her he's going out of town. She's wearing, like, this weird pajama top shirt.
Yeah, I thought it looked kind of like pajamas. I mean, it's like a camisole, like a lacy camisole.
It was definitely popular at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I never would have been allowed to wear something like that, but yeah, it was a look at the time. So they are... Wait, what happens next? They go... Is that when they look at the... Well, you haven't seen the episode recently. Is that when they look at the security footage that the cops have on Zach in order to...
Yeah, and they see the shiny eyes.
They see the shiny eyes, which is the number one way that they use to find shapeshifters.
It sure is.
Going through the show. They mentioned doppelganger, and I wonder if doppelganger is a thing, or if they just, like, say that.
Huh. Might be one of those creatures we never see. Like black
Maybe.
dogs.
But in this, like, they get to shapeshifter, like, immediately, and they know how to kill it, like, immediately. There's not much research or questioning going on in this episode at all.
No, I guess they have encountered these before.
Yeah, it seems like they have. But Dean's like, Dad told me how to handle a shapeshifter.
Although...
Silver bullet to the heart.
I don't know, because I don't think that they've seen its skin shed thing before. Because they seem pretty surprised when they find that. Well,
the way they talk about it, it seems like there are multiple, like, different kinds of shapeshifters. And throughout the show, it feels like there are different kinds of shapeshifters as well. Like, not all shapeshifters are like this. At one point, they've got that shapeshifter baby, and it doesn't shed, it just, like, immediately changes.
That's true, it, like, exploded. And, you know what I noticed, though, when I watched this episode? This freaking shapeshifter changes a lot, and it looks really painful when it happens.
Yeah, oh my god, so there's that's skipping ahead a tiny bit, but there's a bit where we actually watch the shapeshifter change, and it's super gross, body horror really kind of stuff. It's difficult to watch, and he pops out, like, new teeth.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, like, does he gets the memories from the person when he's shapeshifting. Does he get, like, their dental records, too? Can he, like, shapeshift cavities and fillings and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Because Dean might have some medical or dental records on file that they use to identify his corpse at the end. Spoiler alert, at the end, they kill the shapeshifter while it looks like Dean.
I don't know, man. You think he's ever been to a dentist?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, his teeth look His teeth look like they're in good shape. That's just because Jensen's teeth are in good shape.
That is true. The actor Jensen Ackles has great oral hygiene. That's on his wiki.
I'm not
Or
under the impression
we should add it.
that Dean has great oral hygiene.
No, he doesn't seem like a guy that would, like, take care of himself.
I mean,
that
if
much.
he sleeps in his car half the time.
Yeah, how often does he brush his teeth?
Right.
And how often has he ever flossed? Probably not.
Gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude telling his girl he's going out of town. Next thing you know.
And then he comes home early because his client canceled. He was on his way to Kansas City. Have you ever been to Kansas City? I've been to Kansas City. I mean, it's not really worth going to, but
doesn't sound like it.
I had some barbecue there, and it was pretty good. That's it. That's the end of the story about Kansas City.
That's it. Great story.
So the second couple's house, the husband walks in. He's home early, and his wife is all tied up and beaten like the girl at the beginning of the episode. And again, there's like blood sort of everywhere too. Yeah. And that dude gets like clocked in the head by his shapeshifter doppelganger.
But before
by a baseball bat.
She's like, "Please don't hurt me anymore."
Yeah, so she thinks her husband was the one hurting her. What is the shapeshifter's game here? Does he just like get off on making people think that their partners are hurting them?
Yeah, I don't know. We never. I guess we kind of see towards the end that he wants to be loved. Maybe.
But that's a weird way to want to be loved.
That's a weird way to want to be loved.
Shapeshifters are kind of different in terms of monsters because their motivation is never... Like, a werewolf just wants to eat your heart.
Yeah.
And a vampire just wants to drink your blood. What a shapeshifter wants is sort of unclear.
Every shapeshifter we've ever encountered has wanted something different.
Yeah.
Like the, Dracula one.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good episode, too. That's probably in my top 10.
Episode.
So, yeah. I don't really know what the shapeshifter is after. But he just wants to, like, torture women. So, probably not a good dude. So they show up to Sam and Dean then show up to the crime scene. They're like looking around the first crime scene, and Sam finds blood on a telephone pole, and he does like the most unnecessary like motion towards it and says blood like in this really really kind of dramatic way.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen blood before.
And then like an ambulance goes by them in the alley while they're investigating that crime scene. And they're in St. Louis, which is a big city, so it's sort of a coincidence that that ambulance is actually, like, related.
Yes, I thought about that too.
It leads them to another crime scene rather than just, like, somebody having a heart attack.
Yep, I thought that was funny too. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
There's ambulances all over the place. For all sorts of reasons.
And they show up, like, at the other crime scene, and they talk to this jogger lady, and she has a lot of information about what went down. She's like, he was out of town, and then he came back and killed his wife, and he says that he saw himself, but that's crazy. Like, she knows fully what happened.
That is a little unusual. Maybe she, like, lurked while he gave his story to the cops.
Maybe. But, like, you would keep people back far enough.
I mean, you would think. I don't know. She might have been hiding in a tree or something.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. She was probably hiding in a tree. So this is when they say it's a shapeshifter.
And that poor guy, I guess, I don't know, went to jail.
Oh my god, so at the end of the episode, I was, like, thinking, like, they get Zach off, but does that guy go to jail?
Yeah, we don't care about that guy.
No, we don't care about that guy. Anyway, I wrote down in my notes, shapeshifter immediately, good job, boys.
Okay.
I'm very proud of them. They got it right away.
Man, they did though.
And then they immediately figure out that he must be going in the sewer.
That's right. They see the little sewer grate. They're like, aha.
Aha. So then they go in the sewer.
They go in the sewer a lot.
Super gross. Oh, it's so gross down there. It
It's
looks
so
just
nasty.
like wet and stinky. And I was thinking like their jeans are really long.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and they're treading them through. I would
Jeans
just
are
throw
long,
away.
and they got those jackets, and they probably brushing up against all the walls.
Yeah, because they're giant human beings and they got
They
these wide
are.
shoulders.
Even Dean.
Even Dean. Well, Dean's like broader, maybe, than Sam a little bit.
Maybe right now. I don't know. In later seasons, I think Sam bulks up quite a bit.
You would expect like one to be tall and skinny and one to be like short and stocky, but Sam is still just like a monster of a human being. He's still like, he's giant, and then he's got like really wide shoulders.
I think he does bulk up in later seasons.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing some seasons, I'm like, man, his back looks really big. And I don't remember thinking that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, his hair gets longer and he gets bulkier as we progress.
And, I mean, Dean's not short. He's like 6'1" or something, right?
We discussed this on the first episode, that they're actually not that different in height, and they're both pretty tall.
Yep. Both frickin' tall, man.
So anyway, they're going through this gross sewer, and then something even grosser happens when they find a gloopy face just on the ground, like skin and slime.
They do.
Would you touch that?
I would not even touch that with my knife like they do.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to touch that with anything.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, I don't know, like, you can look at it and tell it's pretty nasty. I don't know why you need to poke at it.
Who knows?
But they
what
do.
Dean is thinking.
And they're like, oh, maybe every time it changes, it sheds its skin.
That's exactly how that line is delivered. So then they go, somehow they run into it. Oh no, it runs into them. It finds them in the sewer, right? And Dean's shoulder gets messed up. It doesn't look like Dean gets hit that hard, like enough to mess up his shoulder for real. But it must. Sam uses that later to determine that the shapeshifter isn't Dean, so it must have been worse than it looked.
Yeah.
And then they're chasing the guy down through the streets, through a park, and there's just people around, and Sam's keeping his gun hidden, but Dean's just got his gun like fully drawn, running around St. Louis.
That sounds about right.
So I don't know what the plan was. Like, if he found it, he would just shoot it and deal with whatever consequences there were for shooting a man in the middle of the street in St. Louis.
I don't know, man. I've never been to St. Louis. Maybe we shouldn't go there. Woo!
Maybe it's just fine.
I just wound back to the part where the dude finds them in the sewer, and he's just like standing right behind them. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
And he didn't even.
Yeah, he just pops out.
I'm not sure why he did that, because it's not like he attacked them. He just shows up behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Sam shoots at him, and dude runs off.
Well, he must have attacked them because he hurts Dean's arm.
I don't know. I just see him show up behind them all of a sudden, and they're like, whoa, watch out. So I don't know how Dean's arm got hurt.
Yeah. It must have happened.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're thinking of later in the episode.
No, it's because you're about to get to the point where they chase the shapeshifter and they lose him, and they meet back up at the car, and Sam is questioning Dean to try and figure out if it's really Dean, because he's suspicious. Because he tosses him the keys, and he tosses it, and he catches it in his left hand.
I thought that was just because he's not left-handed.
No, it's because he hurt his shoulder.
Oh.
So do you want me to, wait a minute while you catch up to where we are and
No, I
talking
mean,
about this
I
episode?
watched it. I didn't see him hurt his shoulder.
So, yeah, okay, good. I'm glad that's not just me, because I saw that and I was like, did he really hurt his shoulder?
I did not see
Anyway.
anything about a hurt shoulder.
I also noticed, like, so Sam is sort of questioning Dean to see if it's really Dean. And he said, didn't Dad get a shapeshifter in San Antonio?
Yeah.
Or something?
He's testing him.
He's testing him. Jared Padalecki is from San Antonio. So I thought that was interesting.
I see him. He's asking about in San Antonio, and the dude goes, it was in Austin, and it turned out not to be a shapeshifter. I guess because he's got the memories.
Projection.
I feel like they haven't actually tangled with one of these before.
No, but their dad must have. I mean, they say that their dad did. So I assume that Dean is, like, with their dad all the time, but sometimes it seems like he's not. Like, it seems like their dad is going on hunts without Dean a lot. So are they splitting up and Dean's, like, hunting on his own?
I mean, I guess when Dean found Sam, his dad had split off. It kind of felt like he hadn't done that before, but maybe he had.
Maybe, because Dean doesn't really know enough, considering how much exposure he should have to hunting.
It's true. It's true.
Anyway, I thought it was interesting that they brought up San Antonio, because Jared is from San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio. So now, Sam knows the shapeshifter's not Dean, but the shapeshifter still gets the upper hand and ties him up and ties him in his lair.
Okay, so what I wanted to mention when the husband comes home to find his wife, tied up, and he gets hit by a baseball bat.
Yeah.
And then later, Sam gets hit by, like, a crowbar.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them should be dead. Like, there is no way that you could just get fully hit in the face by a baseball bat and not have serious damage.
That's true. I mean, that dude was really swinging.
Yeah.
There should have been repercussions.
Yeah, there should be. I mean, I'm sure they both have concussions, but we're not going to watch them recover from that concussion.
I feel like they probably get a concussion every episode.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like that. Like, if they didn't die from hunting, they would definitely die of long-term effects of the number of brain injuries they've had. So at the point where Sam is in the sewer talking to shapeshifter Dean, I really appreciate that, like, Dean in this is good at, he changes, like, his whole sort of facial expression and the way he talks to evil Dean. I think Jensen Ackles does a really good job here with being evil Dean.
He does.
Because the facial expressions really get me. Like, he really changes the way he holds his face.
Yeah, he does.
And that's when he mentions that Dean had dreams, and I wondered what Dean's dreams would be. Probably to be a mechanic.
I think it would be to have his own family.
Yeah, I think Dean
He's really
wants
into
a family. Kids are great, you know? So then shapeshifter Dean goes to Becky's house, which again is a ridiculously, like, fancy big house.
And we still don't know where Dean actually is. I mean,
no.
Sam's in the lair, but we don't see Dean yet.
Yeah, that's true. We don't really know what happened to Dean. Maybe he killed Dean. Do you think he killed Dean?
He might have.
Yeah, he probably did. Dean's probably dead right now.
Probably.
And then...
He maybe did.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. What did he maybe do?
Flight of the Conchords.
It's a good bit.
Maybe
it's a
did.
good episode. Anyway, so the shapeshifter goes to Becky's house, and so a thought that I had when I was watching this episode is that it feels very X-Files-esque.
Oh.
I know that, like, Kripke was heavily influenced by the X-Files, but I don't know, there's just something about the way that this episode unfolds that makes it feel like an episode of X-Files, like, extra hard. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I don't know how to describe it. I think it's because like in every episode of X-Files ever, like Mulder and Scully get separated and then somebody's in like a precarious situation where they're in danger and they don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. That might just describe like every show ever, but something about this episode felt very X-Files-y. And then we splash back to the sewer where Sam is, and we find out that Dean is there too.
Covered up under a something.
And it's just like a tarp or something.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Not sure why the dude covered him up like that.
I don't know, because Sam can't see him from where he is. So, maybe he just wanted, I don't know.
It's not even like he, like, tied it over him. He just kind of draped it on him because Dean just kind of shrugs it off. He's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They talk about how, like, the shapeshifter can read Dean's mind and, like, is downloading his memories like a Vulcan mind meld. That's one of our Star Trek references. They reference Star Trek.
Dean references a lot of shows.
Well, yeah, but especially, like, Sam doesn't seem to know any Trek.
He does not.
Dean references
I remember
Trek
when
quite a bit.
Dean referenced Star Trek 4, and neither Sam nor Bobby knew.
Oh my god, the one with the whales! Yes. Yeah, that's a good bit.
Yeah.
And Bobby, at that point in that scene, says, I only watched DS9 or something. Which is great.
But yeah, Dean, I think, you know, so Blake and I were talking at this, and Blake was like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like he would necessarily know, like, all those nerdy references, but then maybe it's because they just grew up living in hotels, and so they just watched a lot of TV.
Yeah. Like you and me watching TV during school time. And like we said, like, there's downtime between cases. It's not like a case all the time.
Yeah.
All Dean probably does when he's not working a case is sit around and eat cheeseburgers and watch television.
Probably, yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, they go to, or the shapeshifter is at, sorry. The shapeshifter now is at Becky's house.
He's talking to her.
He's being a creeper. Oh, he's being so creepy.
I don't know why she even let him in.
I don't know why. I mean, maybe because Jensen Ackles is really handsome.
And he's talking to her. I mean, he's handsome, but he's acting weird, and he's, like, trying to empathize with the thing to her.
There's only, like, a level of handsomeness that is excusable for saying, like, all the weird stuff that Dean is now saying.
I mean, he's saying a lot of weird stuff.
The shapeshifter is just desperate for human touch, and the way that he's, like, getting that human touch is by slicing up people with a knife. So, that's not a healthy way to handle that.
And you can tell she's getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know about this.
And then she gets up, she freaks out, and she gets up, she's gonna call the police, and he, like, ties her up with a landline cord. And my thought during that part was, like, if she didn't have a landline, this never would have happened.
Well, maybe she doesn't have a cell phone, because she was emailing Sam to his Palm Pilot.
That's true. Maybe she doesn't have a cell phone.
I mean, this was in the time, though, when people still legit used, like, their landline over their cell phone. Because I guess cell phone plans weren't that great.
I didn't have a cell phone at this point in the world. And then that song starts playing again. That's playing at the beginning, right? It's the same song. And the song is about, like, being a freak. Because the shapeshifter was all alone and he felt like a freak. And that messed him up, and now he wants to murder people. And I guess Sam and Dean must have called the police to get, the SWAT team shows up at her house.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how they never actually show them calling them.
No. And it's that they send the SWAT, like, right away, rather than just a police officer to check it out. They must have, like, taken this very...
Yeah, they do send, like a whole freaking team.
Yeah. So the SWAT shows up, and the song is playing, and we see what's going on at the beginning of the episode when we came in. But the shapeshifter, like, gets away from the police. He throws a knife in a guy's chest, and then he runs away.
What's up with the random bandage across her forehead, though?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm looking at her tied up, and she's got the gag. I get that, but she's got a random, like, bandage tied around the top of her head.
I don't know what that would be for, or what the point of that would be.
I don't think it serves a purpose.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We used to ask the shapeshifter what he was thinking when he did that.
Oh yeah, I hear that song now.
Yeah. And so he's gonna, like, run away from the SWAT team after he throws a knife into a guy, and then he goes into the sewer and we see the full transformation. I don't know what he's changing into, because it seems like he just kind of sticks with being Dean, but maybe he just has to shed occasionally. Oh no, wait, he is changing. Spoiler alert, he's changing into somebody else.
Oh, it's the super gross change scene.
Yeah, it's really hard to watch.
And then Sam and Dean walk past some TVs, and they see that they're now looking for Dean, and they're like, oh boy, this is the start of their troubles with the law. And this goes on for a while.
It goes on for a really long time, and it really doesn't come back to bite them for a while. I think after this episode, it doesn't come up until a while later.
The jail episode.
The jail episode, yeah. Yeah, that's a while away. You know what I noticed too is, like, they're sitting there looking at, like, the shop window full of TV screens, which I've never seen in real life. That doesn't ever happen.
Man, you're right. They show that in TV all the time.
Yeah, it happens in TVs and movies all the time. And I also noticed that, like, a lot of times when that's happening, most of the TVs are on the news, but then some of the TVs will be on something else. And I feel like, genuinely, the TVs that are on something else, it's always like a cheetah running. I feel like that's a thing. And I don't want to go, like, back through every movie that's ever done this, or every TV show that's ever done this.
I'm gonna be looking
but I
for
feel
it
like that's
now.
a thing. But yeah, I've never walked by a window full of televisions playing the news. But that happens all the time in television shows.
Oh, it does. I haven't seen that either. I mean, I've seen it in the store. Like, you go by the TV section in Target or Walmart.
Yeah.
It's usually on, like, football games.
Yeah. It's always football.
Because they want to market to the men, I guess.
Or cheetahs running, because they want to market to the cheetahs.
And, so the cops corner Sam and Dean. Dean runs off. Sam, I don't know, distracts them.
Oh, so they, like, the cops find them because they went to go get more weapons out of their car.
Yeah.
Which was parked in front of Becky's house, which is, like, an active crime scene. They just came and arrested, Sam. Or no, tried to arrest Dean.
Yep.
Shapeshifter Dean. And, the cops show up because obviously they would be watching that car. And Dean jumps a fence and Sam gets arrested. But the thing is, the cops must have been able to see Dean jump that fence.
Yep, it was right in front of them.
And then Sam and Dean are talking to each other for so long. It's really like, let's have a full conversation while the cops are approaching and I'm trying to run away by jumping this fence. They won't check beyond this fence. They'll just get one person when they saw two guys and be fine and end the search there.
I don't know. We never even see Sam in custody, right?
No. Well, Sam, the lawyer, knows that he can't be held for anything, which he could be held for something.
You can hold them for, what, isn't it like 48 hours?
Yeah, I think so. And he's
Without
like,
charging
they
them?
could charge him with being an accomplice. It's not like they have nothing on him.
I think you can actually hold them without charging them for a small period of time.
Yeah, I think it is 48 hours, but I also feel like they could charge him if they really wanted to with something.
They sure could. He's been arrested before.
Yeah. And Dean is able, because all of the cops in San Antonio are now with Sam, so Dean is just able to go back to that car.
St. Louis.
Sorry, St. Louis. So Sam is just able to go back to the car and get the guns from the car.
Absolutely.
They didn't take the car to the impound. It's evidence in a crime, but they didn't take it to the impound. And then once they picked up the one guy they saw going near it, they just stopped watching it.
Yes.
So
that's right.
That feels a little implausible. To me. Just a little implausible.
So, Dean's in the sewer now.
Dean's in the sewer, and he finds Becky, right?
Yeah.
And so the shapeshifter has turned into Becky.
Yep. Well, no, we don't know that yet. It just, Dean finds Becky, and then it flashes to Sam, who's not in custody. He's sitting on Becky's couch. And he's talking to Becky, and then we're like, oh no, that's not Becky, that's the shapeshifter.
Oh no.
And she whacks him with a beer bottle.
Yep, but he's fine.
He will be.
He's just knocked unconscious.
He will be. He gets knocked in the head a lot this episode.
Yeah, he does. Anyway, he gets knocked over the head with a beer bottle, and then he's tied up. And is the shapeshifter still Becky at this point?
Nope, it's already changed to Dean. I'm like, man, this thing changes a lot, and it's not even necessary at this point. Because Sam knows what it is. It's not like it's gonna trick him. It just wanted to be Dean while it sliced him up.
It just likes being Dean.
I think it does like being Dean.
And it's like gonna chop him up, and he's got a knife, and he stabs it into the pool table. First of all, the force that you would need to just stick a knife in a pool table like that, is pretty impressive.
And he does it pretty gently. It's like, I'll just set this knife here. Oh, it went all the way in the table. Yeah.
This pool table is made of butter, so I'll just put this knife in it.
So then Sam, does this cool kick. He's laying on his back, and he kicks him with 2 feet, boom, and then rubs the ropes that are on his wrists 2 times on the knife, and then they break.
They're very thick ropes. They're easily an inch thick, and he cuts. Well, the knife. So maybe the pool table isn't made of butter. Maybe that's just the sharpest knife in the world.
The very sharpest.
Because I noted that down too. That it takes him no time to cut through those ropes.
Because he kicked the shapeshifter Dean. And the dude fell over, but then he gets right up. I mean, we don't have long here.
Yeah, that's true. And if it had taken him a normal amount of time to cut through those ropes, he would be dead.
So, then they get into this big fight, and knock down a bunch of books, and, dude's coming at him again, knocks him again, with a pool stick. Wow.
Yeah. And I like how Shapeshifter Dean is kind of taunting Sam at this point. And he is like, even when we were kids, I always kicked your ass.
Mm-hmm.
But Dean is the older brother. It's not unexpected that he would kick his little brother's ass.
Not for a while, anyway.
No, not for a while.
Sam gets bigger than him.
Yeah, not till Sam becomes a giant. And then Dean shows up.
Yep.
Right.
Dean shows up because the dude's about to choke Sam. Sam's losing this battle badly. And, Dean shows up. He's like, hey! And he shoots the thing dead.
He does. How weird would it be to shoot yourself?
And we get this cool, it kind of looks weird, scene where Dean's, leaning over his own dead body.
Yeah, there's, composite photography that's not fantastic here. But, another thing, the shapeshifter took Dean's necklace And the necklace, like, comes back several times in the show as being sort of an important
Yes, it's a talisman.
But it's...
It glows hot
So,
in the presence of God.
Never got that. Because in the show, you see Sam buys that necklace for Dean, and he buys it from, like, a vending machine.
So, here's where I'm confused. Well, I felt like Sam had bought it for Dean, but then I saw another flashback. I think Bobby actually gave it to Sam. And then...
It definitely... I think that they...
Maybe
I don't
they
know.
changed
I think they retcon it, because I really feel like there's an episode where we see Sam buy it from, like, a vending machine and give it to Dean.
I thought he did, or a convenience store or something.
Yeah.
I thought so too, and then they showed another flashback, and I was like, is that really how it happened?
Yeah, I think that they decided that they wanted it to be something else, this, like, God talisman. And then they decided to, like, change their mind and forget about that episode. But we'll get there eventually. That's like season 7 or 8 or something.
5. Because they're looking for God so they can beat the devil.
That's right. It is earlier. I was just confused because they don't actually meet God. Well, they don't know that they've met God for a while.
They don't meet who they know is God.
Spoilers.
So,
can you imagine someone listening to this podcast and, like, never having seen the show?
I don't, first of all, I don't know why anyone would do that. I feel like that...
Just, like, listen in general?
I think if you haven't seen the show... I mean, this isn't great content already, but if you haven't seen this show at all, if you're not, like, a real fan, what are you getting out of this?
That's true. Us describing an episode kind of poorly and going, like, all over the place while we do it. Yeah. So, I guess the police now think that Dean Winchester is dead. Kind of. And, Zach's not going to prison anymore because they think that Dean Winchester did it.
Right.
We don't know if that other guy, that other husband, is still going to prison or not.
I'm pretty sure
Nobody cares about that guy.
No one cares about him. I think he is going to prison.
And then they're just, driving along. I guess maybe they're going to Arizona now. Again, like, the scenes in this season where they're driving in the car and they're talking in the car, it looks like a 30s movie where there's just, like, a back projection in the back.
It does.
It looks really bad.
They had to save their special effects budget for the melting off skin and all that.
Yeah.
And the teeth popping out and all that
Well,
stuff.
I guess, I mean, and that was horrific to watch, but I guess it actually did look pretty good. Like, special effects wise, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty gnarly.
Yeah. So then the next episode that we're gonna be doing is the Hookman episode. Do you remember that one?
Yep.
Is that a scary one for you?
No, it just, it's a little gnarly.
I kind of forgot that the Hookman episode existed, so it'll be fun to rewatch it. I think that's probably one that I don't go to very often when I'm skipping around and rewatching.
I mean, it's a pretty solid episode, but yeah, it's a dude with a hook, whatever.
Yeah. So, that was our first Shapeshifter episode,
yes.
Skin. How do you feel about it?
Are we rating it now?
Yeah, well, I was more asking just in general, but now we can do our, so every episode we rate, in terms of how scary it was, from 1 to oh my stars, which is what Rachel's mom used to say anytime something scary happened on television. She also used to say oh my stars anytime something, like, sexual happened, so... If an episode is really sexy, I guess it could still get an oh my stars rating.
I guess there's a couple of those.
Not this one. I don't find this episode particularly sexy.
No, it is not. You know, I'd also like to point out that, this probably, I think this is the first episode where they've tried to get, well, they haven't really tried it. Someone shows empathy for the monster. It was the monster in this case.
The monster was showing empathy for himself, but yeah, that's the first sort of
that
time.
That is kind of a theme that becomes a thing.
Yeah, there are a few episodes where they actually, like, it's not just black and white, like, all monsters deserve to die.
Right. Now, I don't feel bad for this monster because he does some pretty horrific stuff.
No, he's still, like, a serial killer. Even in terms of, like, a monster. He's pretty monstery.
He is pretty serial killer-y. I mean, the whole woe is me.
Yeah.
You all deserve this.
I'm gonna just torture you to death. Because nobody loved me.
But, scary, it is not scary. I'm giving it a 0.
A 0?
It's not.
I feel like you even gave... Did you give the plane episode a 0? Or you gave it a 0? Once again, Rachel, the scale is 1 to my star, so 0 is not an option. I don't feel like you're taking our scale very seriously.
Well, I took the scale and I made it better.
That's wrong. I disagree. I disagree. I'm gonna agree with you, though, that it's not a very scary episode and give it a 1.
It's not scary at all. Like, nothing actually scary happens. It's just gross.
So the problem with our rating system, too, is that, like, the plane episode wasn't scary, but it was also a bad episode. And this is, like, not scary, but I think it's an okay episode.
Maybe we need to rate it twice. Rate it for scariness and rate it for general good episode, bad episode.
So what's the scale for good episode, bad episode? Is it just a binary?
Let's say, good or bad?
Good or bad. No middle ground. Is there, like, a supernatural good or bad that we could, like, some phrase that they might use?
Oh, I bet there is.
So is it, like...
I mean, we could have, like, we could do plane episode bad, and trickster episode good, or, shapeshifter episode good. So shapeshifter being, like, a solid episode, but trickster being like, heck yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's a very complicated scale for us to, like, continue to explain every week.
Maybe we will have to ponder on it over the course of this week and just say
we can think
today,
about it.
This was a good episode.
Yeah, this is a good episode. I think heck yeah, the scale might be like heck yeah, good, and plain episode.
Yeah.
Because plain episode has a double meaning. Could be plain as the thing that flies in the sky, and it could be plain as in just plain.
I like that.
Boring.
I like that. Yeah, although I don't think the plane episode was boring. Like I said, I got a lot of entertainment from watching Dean freak out on the plane.
Yeah, maybe I'm giving it a bad rap, but I really don't like that episode.
I feel like that whole thing made it worth it. It was hilarious.
Okay, well, we'll think about our other scale from now on. If you have any input on what our scale could be, look us up on Twitter, Wayward Thing Pod.
Yes.
That's our Twitter handle. And we're on Facebook. And we're on YouTube. And that's it. Those are all the social medias. Maybe we should get an Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
We can post on Instagram.
I can do the Instagram.
Okay, you're in charge of the Instagram.
Yes.
All right,
I can contribute.
Look up our Instagram at some point when Rachel gets around to doing that.
Okay.
I think that you should just, like, post pictures of your food on our Instagram. Have it, like, have nothing to do with the show, like, whatsoever.
Oh man, I might get really into it, like, get some action figures, supernatural action figures, and, I don't know, might be, like, a new scenario every week.
I love that idea.
Alright, I'm gonna search Amazon for that later tonight.
Cool.
Awesome. Hey man, you're late for your thing at 8 o'clock.
Oh crap! And I was gonna go to the grocery store too. Anyway, let's sign off. Rockalita, La Racista.
That's right.
That's what we always call you.
That is what I was called.
Not because you're actually racist.
I am not actually racist. I don't really remember
'cause
why
it
that
rhymed.
started.
It rhymed.
It rhymed. That was the only reason.
That's why we called you that. Alright. Okie dokie,
I think
artichoke.
maybe also because there are some people who say my name, they, like, if they have a little bit of an accent, they'll say racial.
Yeah?
Like racial.
Racial?
And I don't know if it stemmed from that at all. But, yeah.
I don't think it did, but yeah, maybe.
I think it might have. I'm not sure.
Okay, Rockalita, La Racista. Let's sign off so I can go live my life.
Oh my gosh. You have a good night living your life, girl.
You have a good night living your life, boo.
I will.
Alright. Bye, boo.
Goodbye.
You have to say bye, boo.
Bye, boo.
That's what we say. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, boo.
Alright, good night.
Good night.